Welcome to Real Turkey Channel. This is Atilla Shalada, your loving host, reaching out to you on an overcast Sunday in Istanbul. Well, it's almost Christmas, and if you're in the habit, happy Christmas, season's greetings, and all, or happy Kwanza, Hanukkah, whatever. Uh, just celebrate the new year. It's customary to make predictions about the coming year, though, of course, by January, you have to put all of them into a scrap heap and start over. The world is so quantum and chaotic that the human mind is not wired to forecast the future. But we do as best as we can because this is our job, and admitting that we're no good at our job or our job doesn't exist is not a sound business strategy. So, I'm going to make a couple of simple predictions about Turkey in 2021. And this video is titled Infections, Oppression, and Stagnation. Oh, so cheery, isn't it? I mean, this is like a Yuletide. You can sing this to your children or have them listen to it and lull to sleep. Okay, this has been a very bad year for Turkey. After the updated figures, Turkey is number 7 among world nations in terms of COVID-19 cases, and we're rapidly going up there in terms of deaths. Turkish economy, like many emerging nations, will not grow this year or will grow just miserably 0.5% or so. Turkey will end the year with something like 14-15% inflation, $30 billion of current account deficit, and a very, very sickly currency. This is the background to 2021, and I don't think it's going to get better, to be perfectly honest with you. I wish I could. I wish I could lie, but if I could lie, I would have become a politician and maybe now the president of Turkey. Apropos the president of Turkey, Mr. Erdogan, he is the main reason why Turkey is in such dire straits, because Mr. Erdogan would not admit to the flaws of his regime or his incapacity to govern Turkey, which simply causes more problems. For instance, in 2020, when the year began, we had sufficient FX reserves. We could have defended the currency at a reasonable level or financed our current account deficit, all sorts of other things. But his presumed successor, he no longer is, Mr. Berat Albayrak, the former economy czar, wasted all that money in futile currency interventions. And at the end, Turkey is still one of the worst performing currencies against the dollar. But in the meantime, we have lost over $100 billion in central bank reserves, which are obviously not coming back. Despite inflows over the last 4 weeks, we're going to close the year with roughly $10-11 billion of foreign investment outflows in a year where emerging markets are making a killing and every country is laughing to the bank. We managed the first wave of COVID-19 very, very astutely, minimized the number of patients as well as casualties, and our health minister and the health services staff are to be commended for their heroic efforts. And then over the summer, old Turkish habits and Mr. Erdogan's habit of lying came to the fore. The first wave didn't end over the summer months, but the habit of hiding cases started. Why did we do that? Because we had to open the economy, we didn't have any more money left to feed the unemployed, and it was tourism season. We badly needed the couple of dollars that the miserable couple of dollars that tourists would bring with themselves. So over the summer, while we crossed our fingers and whistled, the COVID spread from 3 major cities throughout the nation to vacation spots, so that a lot of Germans and Russians got the COVID-19 virus in Turkey. And then, of course, the second wave started, and we pretended for a month and a half, for 2 months, that nothing was happening, that case numbers were very low. And then, under tremendous public pressure and potentially because of warnings from the World Health Organization, our health minister had to announce the figures. And now we're in the lockdown territory again. Today's Sunday. I've been home since Friday, 9 p.m., and I'm going to spend the New Year's Eve as well as the first days of the new year at home, locked up. These are half hearted measures which are not going to bring much relief to COVID 19. They didn't in the first wave. Turkey, if you believe respectable physicians and medical experts, doesn't have 30,000 cases a day, but roughly 60,000, with that's running 2 to 3 times higher than the official tally of roughly 250. When you have a severe infection like that, which has permeated almost every province, we have 81 provinces of this nation, you really need to take draconian measures. But once again, we're running into resource constraints. The budget doesn't have any cash left. Central bank can't print money. You can't collect taxes because a third of the population is already unemployed. And we didn't have enough money to order a decent amount of vaccines. We already have 50. We only have 100 million doses of Chinese vaccine on order, which will presumably arrive sometimes around the new year. No one knows really. And that's good enough for 50 million. I'm sorry, we have 50 million doses on order, and that's good enough for 25 million people. Turkey's population is roughly 80 million, probably 82 million, with illegal immigrants. So we won't be able to vaccinate a critical mass to reach herd immunity. Now you understand why I'm being pessimistic. Why I'm being pessimistic. And Mr. Erdogan is obviously not going to change. In fact, his reaction to all of these events, which is where oppression comes into the picture, is to silence anyone who dares to speak the truth and to intimidate the opposition, to seek foreign adventures in far-flung, faraway countries like Libya, and pick up mock fights with the West to look good to his Islamist and nationalist constituency, which, by the way, don't care at all what he does as long as the economy is in recession. But oppression is going to get worse because Mr. Erdogan and his partner, Mr. Bahçeli, have no vision and no mission left. They have nothing to give to Turkey. They have exhausted all of Turkey's resources. They have killed the animal spirits in the private sector, and they have wasted all of our FX reserves. The young people want to leave Turkey. According to a poll, 78, 76% would rather live in any other country, not only for economic reasons, but because they are just so sick of the stifling oppression. And unfortunately, mistreatment and torture of convicts and suspects in prisons have returned one of the biggest shames on the face of Turkey. That's the oppression part. When it comes to the infection, we are, well, obviously, as far as I know, the vaccines will work. I don't know how long they will provide immunity. I hope it is lifelong or long term, so we won't have to vaccinate 4 times a year. But eventually they will make a difference. According, once again, to respected medical authorities, at the planned rate of vaccination and given the insufficient doses we have ordered, we will have to battle the infection until June. Over the last few weeks, we have heard about a new strain or variant of the virus which has attacked South African Republic and England. Some say it's more infectious, though not deadly. Some others say it's just different, but doesn't have a worse impact on human health. I don't know. But you gotta remember, we have Very frequent human trafficking between Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria, which means if that new variant arrives there, it's very likely to harass Turkey as well. And that's the infection part. I think 200 deaths a day at minimum for 6 months, you do the math. Stagnation is that Turkish economy won't really rebound from the COVID-19 epidemic simply because, well, we have no money. You need finance to grow. And Turkey is a savings deficit country. Turkish people don't save enough. Or perhaps to rephrase this, Turkish people don't save in the financial system. They buy houses, they stash gold in their vaults and under their mattresses or in the backyard, as the saying goes. If Turkey wishes to grow 4%, which is its potential, it probably needs to generate 35 billion dollars of current account deficits, and nobody is going to lend that money to Turkey. More importantly, neither banks nor the non-bank private sector is interested in borrowing that money because they know if they make profits, Mr. Erdogan will expropriate them. The currency will remain weak and probably weaken further unless our new central bank governor uh, orchestrates a very large rate hike this Thursday. Very unlikely. He'll probably do 150 basis points. But the current policy rates or a policy rate plus 150 basis points will not suffice to stamp down on inflation. Add to that the pass through from the currency exchange rate, and you get 15-16% inflation in the first 3 months of the year. After that, only God knows. It could probably get worse unless we tighten monetary policy and face a deep recession. And then, of course, there are the sanctions. I mean, already the EU and President Trump have imposed symbolic sanctions on Turkey for different reasons. But it appears from what I read that EU is waiting for Biden to take the throne in the White House to put even more sanctions on Turkey. And Americans have sworn to get the Russian-made S-400s out of Turkey. So we're facing a situation where the West has a united front and is determined to get a few things from Turkey. One of them is S-400s. The others are not important for the purpose of this video. And they will use the sanctions screw until we get that, which means less confidence, both investor confidence and economic confidence, and currency weakening. Currency weakening, as I've said, leads to higher inflation, but even has a more pernicious effect. Our corporates have accumulated a lot of FX debt. They have to pay $165 billion of maturing foreign debt in a year, and they generate most of their revenues in Turkish liras. So, if the Turkish lira depreciates, the amount of cash flow that needs to be dedicated to foreign debt payments increases as a percentage of the total. As a result, there is fewer profits. There is less money left to expand the factory or to hire new workers. That's Turkey. I'm not saying Mr. Erdogan has to go, but he has to reform and he has to uh, get in line with the realities of the new world. It's a much harsher world where countries are competing as in Darwin's evolutionary theory and only the best will survive. And Turkey has so far has not proven that it can survive. Well, I hope your country does better in 2021 and Santa fills your socks with candy and goodies instead of coal. I'm not even gonna put mine up this year. I know I've been a bad boy. This is Attila Eşala saying goodbye from Istanbul, and this has been another Real Turkey Channel broadcast. Bye bye now. Stay home and stay safe.